Alrighty guys, we're back for Big Red Artifacts, and this is a Foundation Standard Brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. Over the top end first, we got 3 Cityscape Levelers, 8 mana, 8/8 trample with Unearth for 8. Whenever you cast a spell and whenever it attacks, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Its controller creates a tapped Power Stone token. This is a powerhouse of a card in the right build. We have a couple Skitterbeam Battalions, 9 mana, 4/4, trample, haste. When it enters, if you cast it, create 2 tokens that are copies of it. And then it also has a prototype cost for much cheaper, just 3 and double red. Cool stuff. Got a couple Portal to Phyrexia acting as a very top-end board wipe, but then also doing some reanimation things that'll come in handy. We're not really sending things to the grave in here, so we're not like intentionally trying to get Portal just to reanimate things. But that being said, the opponent's going to kill our creatures anyways. We're going to be killing the opponent's creatures anyways, so it'll still do the thing. Got a top-end Darksteel Colossus, 11 mana, 11/11. Trample indestructible. Oh my goodness. And again, not doing anything fancy here. We're just casting these things out. So also, if Darksteel Colossus would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, reveal it, and then shuffle it into its owner's library. So even if we wanted to do something fancy like reanimation, that bottom ability isn't going to let us do that anyways. All right. What's the ramp then? Well, we got 4 Mightstone Weakstones, of course, also acting as card draw, and the -5/-5 really coming in handy too. We got 3 Hedron Archives. This is a 4 mana artifact. You can tap it for 2 colorless mana. Cool. And then you can pay 2, tap it, sacrifice this artifact, draw 2 cards. I think this will be great in here. We got 3 Solemn Simulacrums. Cool stuff, man. So when it enters, you get a basic land. So, of course, we're grabbing a mountain in here. And when it dies, you draw a card. Awesome. We got a couple Brotherhood's End because board wipes are kind of important. And I guess removal's kind of important too. So we got a couple chainsaws in here, as well as all 4 Legion Extruders, also acting as one of our win conditions too. When it enters, you can deal 2 damage to any target, and then you can pay 2, tap it, sacrifice another artifact. Create a 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature token. Cool stuff. And you know what we wouldn't mind sacrificing to an extruder? Piggy Bank or Gleaming Barrier. We actually have all 4 copies of each of these in here, and both reading, when they die, create a treasure token. Neat. And Gleaming Barrier in particular should be pretty good to defend us against those big old chunky mice that keep on swinging into our face, huh? But we'll see, we'll see. Also have some early ramp with an Irencrag too. Not doing literally anything with that bottom ability. We have no legendary creatures in here. It's just early ramp. Okay, 25 total mana. We do have a Hidden Volcano as well as an Autonomous Furnace in here. Some builds just don't mind having tapped land. So in those builds, I like trying out some of these utility tapped lands. And I think this is going to be one of those builds, especially since we have no 1 mana cards. So our turn 1 can just be get the Hidden Volcano down and be happy about it. We have other utility lands packed in, a couple Blast Zone, we have a Demolition Field, a couple Fountainport, and a couple Mirrex as well, generating us more artifacts. We can eventually transform those 1/1 Mites into 3/3 Golems, for example. That seems pretty good. Outside of that, Fountainport just being more card draw and Blast Zone being more board wipe. Honorable mentions, guys. Candy Trail almost made the cut. Maze Mine Tome I was keeping my eye on, not this time around. Slagstorm I wanted to bring up because this could be your board wipe of choice over the Brotherhood's End. However, I do think we're going to be activating the bottom ability on Brotherhood's End every once in a while, even if we are popping our own artifacts, especially if it's like Piggy Bank and Gleaming Barrier. I guess you never know. We might be doing that bottom ability just to ramp at that point. We'll see, though. We'll see. And I wanted to bring up Urabrask's Forge, and if I went the Forge route, then I would have went the Mycosynth Garden route, too, for the mana base. About Crawling Barrens too, but I think we have enough win conditions in here that I don't think Crawling Barrens actually would have done too much, but we'll see, won't we? And then Thran Spider almost made the cut as well. So very important honorable mentions today. Okay, guys, I do my D&Ds to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take this into some ranked, and see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? I'm actually pretty split on this one. Like I want it to be really good, right? But I'm also a little bit convinced that it's going to be janky too. So we'll see, won't we? All right, I like this hand. We go first too. I'm keeping it. We'll go right into that turn 2 Piggy Bank if we don't have to use the extruder. Okay. It's a duress. No, get out of my hand. No. Okay. Fountainport will come down with Piggy Bank. We don't mind seeing more land at all. A lot of things we can draw into here that'll be very efficient. Hopefully very efficient against Mono Black too. Actually, Mono Black, their main spot removals still go for the throat, right? So that should be decent enough for us. Maze Mind Tome. Oh, buddy. Okay. I'm not too concerned about that, but that does give consistent value for a few turns, doesn't it? Mightstone and Weakstone's really good. Right? Well, I guess Blast Zone makes more sense for the turn, doesn't it? That way we have that open at the very least. Put a counter on it. We probably will do that too. The Mightstone Weakstone is the only card in hand that they don't know about. Okay, they call Demon on the Caverns. Okay. It's a cut down. It's a little bit of ramp. I don't mind seeing that ramp. Okay. There's your token, and instead of going Skitterbeam Battalion for 5, it's going to be Mightstone Weakstone for sure. All right, let's put that charge counter on the blast zone here. X is 1. I really doubt we'll end up using blast zone just to take out the tome, but yeah, having those extra counters on it definitely isn't going to hurt here. I don't think. Maybe they'll just dump a bunch of 1-drops on the board. Prove me wrong, right? All right, Fountainport, Mightstone, Weakstone. Let's draw a couple. I feel like most of the time when you play Mightstone, Weakstone, you're so in danger that you just have to go -5/-5 on their most important things. So really nice being able to draw 2 here and not be in immediate danger. Okay, they draw off the tome. We see Brotherhood's End and Legion Extruder. So, I mean, mana off the top wouldn't be bad. Archfiend, of course, is a bit of an issue. Get Blast Zone to 4. 4 is probably a pretty good spot, but they'll just keep the other Archfiend in hand for a while, probably. Fountainport. We don't even have double red for the prototype on the Skitterbeam Battalion, guys. That's a little bit iffy, isn't it? Maybe we'll go second Mightstone, Weakstone. Let's tap these properly to make sure we keep the red source open in case we need that red source, right? 4, 5. All right. So we want to keep the untapped one. We'll draw 2. -5/-5 does not hit an Archfiend of the draw, so... Okay, so mountains. Okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what we want to see. Cityscape Leveler, when it comes down, can pick up the Archfiend then. Outside of that, it's probably Piggy Bank then, right? And I guess we'll use the mountains over the Mightstone Weakstone. Even though it doesn't really matter. It might be worthwhile, depending on what deck you're up against, to tap Mightstone, Weakstone, and a mountain. You're wasting 1 mana from the Mightstone, but you're keeping a mountain open, which they might play around. Ow. Unstoppable Slasher is definitely a problem. All right, here's the mana number 8, and we have to take care of the Archfiend. We have... Leveler can block the Slasher, but oh, so can Piggy Bank, honestly, especially if it's just go for the throat. Yeah, we can't block in the air. Slasher can be blocked on the ground at the very least. So let's pop the Archfiend. Power Stone is actually pretty bad to give the opponent, but Power Stone could be used for a lot over there. We'll see what ends up happening. So I'm going to actually just keep a blocker. Not worth swinging until we're down to the final moments, I would say. Base Mind Tome. Yeah, Power Stone can be used to power up Sanctuary, which, funny enough, is all creature types. That means including Demon, right? And, of course, the Power Stone can be used for the draw on the Tome, too. So there's the Unholy Annex. Oh, they actually go for the Ritual Chamber for the 6/6. They almost swung into that Piggy Bank, which would have been a pretty good swing for us. Okay. Piggy Bank. Okay. So we can swing with Leveler, pop the Slasher. Comes back, right? But it'll have the stun counters on it. Pretty good. Or we could pop the Demon, see if they block the Slasher. We could really just go in with the Battalion for the turn. A lot of options here, guys, especially when we have a board that has 2 Fountainports and a Blast Zone, too. I say we do the fun thing. Let's do the fun thing, guys. 9 mana Battalion. Heck yeah. Then we ask ourselves, do we full swing and let them keep the Slasher? That's probably a really bad idea. So we full swing, let them keep the Demon. That's also probably a really bad idea. But I think I like that more than risking them keeping the Slasher into a combo, right? They go Maze Mind Tome, they draw. They're up to 21 here. At least the Tome's gone, but boy, that's a lot of extra value, isn't it? Comes back tapped with the stun counters. They go for a block into the 4/4. Yep. So they are taking 19 damage. Woo, buddy, that's cool. Here's the last 2. Can we survive the turn? Bloodletter. Oh, thank goodness we hit that Slasher. Thank goodness, bro. Wait a minute. That's still game, though. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's kind of my fault, guys. Bloodletter, of course, doubling the 6/6 to 12, and then we're going to be taking the excess damage from the powered-up Unholy Annex. Boy, they had a lot of mana there, didn't they? Aw, man. Well, that's rough. So, of course, as a sorcerer, you may pay the mana cost of the locked door to unlock it. It looks like they used our Power Stones to actually unlock that. Honestly, guys, being at 14, we were going to be very, very close regardless if they played the Bloodletter. So, the best way through... Okay, first of all, our deck list totally did the thing. I could have played that out better and potentially got us that victory. Where if we popped the 6/6 and saved a couple blockers, we just needed a bit of patience there, right? Couple blockers on the ground for the Slasher. Even then, let's be real, they might have still been able to find a way through since they had the Bloodletter ready. Oh, that was close. That was close, opponent. Crap. Crap. Also, I guess they could have missed the Bloodletter, but that's obviously what their deck list was trying to be doing, so... And that would have been rare for them to miss, probably a 4-up, maybe. Actually, that depends. Yeah, their entire 4-mana spots could have been taken up by those demons. Archfiend and the Bloodletter as like 4-ofs each. I don't think that would be unheard of. We'll keep this. Power Stone's really working well with everything that the opponent had over there. So that is definitely noteworthy. When Cityscape Leveler's taking things out, how often are the opponents going to be able to use those Power Stones effectively? Against Mono Black, I suppose they're going to be able to use them quite often, aren't they? Actually, And this mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. It's actually really interesting that Power Stones can be used on rooms, right? Manifold Mouse is a perfect target for the Extruder. Go ahead and take care of that real quick. And we'll go for the swing too. Even though Boros has hasty creatures, I think we'll be fine for the turn. Of course, mana off the top would be terrific. Showcasing, even though we have so much ramp, showcasing why we still have 25 in here. They still got one open here. We don't know what kind of mice we're up against. So we have the Extruder ability, which we'll probably do and play the other Piggy Bank. Let's see what they do with this Piggy Bank first. Because we could slip 3 through. Then we can go Extruder, get a 3/3, pop the treasure off the Piggy Bank, play the other Piggy Bank. Or we could wait, use the Extruder ability, or block with the bank, right, to ramp into the archive. It's held up on the opponent here. Let's see what they do with this Piggy Bank. We could also... We don't have to be that fancy about it. We could just play the other Piggy Bank, and that would work, I guess. I say we'd be fancy about it, though. Yeah, totally fine. Get a treasure token. We'll use the treasure token for the Piggy Bank. Yeah, since we're not doing anything else for the turn, the other Piggy Bank can still ramp us into the archive if we do miss the mana. Yeah, that's totally fine. Because now Piggy Bank number 2 will be a good chump blocker. Heartfire Hero must have been their draw. In other words, that was a very weird order of things, right? Sculpted by Ghosts, or they were waiting for the right moment. They're going to go ahead and take the Extruder here. Okay. Yeah, Heartfire Hero doesn't have haste, luckily. But it doesn't look like they're doing anything else here. I think it's Brotherhood's End, guys. I think it's Brotherhood's End. We got to clean this up before anything else. Gleaming Barrier will also be pretty good. We can go for the swing first, see what happens. Yeah, let's do that. They might take the 6. If they do end up blocking, it'll be a good block for us. And maybe we won't do the Brotherhood's End then. All right. We should do this, though. We should. We get the Extruder back. We'll hit the opponent's face. We get treasure ramp here, too. It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. Okay. There's the mana. There we go. All right. We could make some 3/3s, but let's be real. We got to start ramping. And... free Gleaming Barrier. Don't mind if I do. Don't mind if I do. So 1, 2, 3. And then we have 7 mana total. We're 1 away from the Leveler. GG opponent. Yeah, no, I completely understand after the Brotherhood's End. Taking care of the Sheltered by Ghosts and everything like that. Completely understandable. If we missed mana, I mean, obviously the other archive could have come down for the turn too. But then also we'd have Legion Extruder. We could pop the treasure. Because all we need is the 2 archives and the 4 mountains to have 8 mana for the Leveler, which is actually kind of insane. We didn't have to pop the treasure too. Extruder could have popped the barrier to get another treasure onto the board. Interesting stuff, man. I don't know. I feel like the deck list is performing quite well so far. In that first match too, I can't believe... I was so greedy with my swing. No, I definitely believe that. That was a fun swing. You know what? I don't regret anything, darn it. No, that first game, dude. Yeah, I think this deck list could have gotten there. It's really fun casting out those battalions for 9 mana. All right, we go first. I'm keeping this. Yeah, we'll start with the mountain. Show the opponent that they should be afraid. Oh, Market Gnome. Okay. Fountainport. Piggy Bank. That's fun. Yeah, we don't mind if the Piggy Bank dies. Ramping us right into a 4-drop would be insane. For this turn, we have a swing first. We'll see what happens. If it's going to be removal, it's going to be exile removal. And that's okay. Get it out of the opponent's hand, I guess, right? And they do just go for the block for the draw. Alright. So they're not doing anything fancy with the gnome. I guess it does, since it replaces itself, that makes a lot of sense, actually. So for the turn, then, we'll go for the furnace. Because that's not holding up our turn at all. So we get down the tap land while we can. Cryptic Coat. Okay. Okay. Mirrex Fountainport to power up. It's probably the Archive, although the... let's see where they start with the Piggy Bank. See if they block here. They do block. Wow. But I think I'm going to go... I don't want any more mana, so deck thinning with the Simulacrum makes more sense to me. Okay, we don't want to draw too much mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then, of course, Archive can come down next turn. And use some of our utility land next turn, too, potentially. Depending on what the opponent ends up doing. With the block, I guess if we would have went Archive, we would have had Leveler next turn, right? But I think playing it out slowly makes sense here, too. And deck thinning makes sense here as well. So Demolition Field helping us deck thin even further, but Fountainport is a pretty important land, especially if we get into that late game, that extra card draw. Of course, going the extra mile then. Okay, Mirrex can come down. Archive. Wait a minute, guys. We should swing first. Yeah. We should definitely swing first. And see what happens to the Simulacrum. We'll get the other Archive, too, because that'll open up our entire top end. It lands. It's on the board. So we have 4, 5, 6. Then we have 10 and 11 with the treasure token. So let's see that Colossus off the top. Don't really know what we're up against here. Cryptic Coat, okay. Market Gnome, I guess it could be Azorius artifacts, right? Well, more mana definitely isn't great. But we have what it needs. Yeah, we have what we need to pay the ward on their face down card. I guess, if we want. Or we could just hit the coat, though. Return Cryptic Coat to its owner's hand. No, that's not the greatest idea, is it? We'll take care of the creature then instead. Sure. Yes, that is fine to tap, I suppose. We pop the creature. We get the swing for 2. Ooh, it's the Wandering Rescuer, guys. My goodness. I don't know where the opponent's removal is, or counter spells for that matter. They return Cryptic Coat so they can do it again next turn. That's providing them a decent amount of value. But now that we have a trampling creature on the board, yeah, we're going to need to draw on the Archive or the Furnace, or both. We're going to need to get some of this card draw in. Starfall. Oh, crap. Well, the good news is it's not a Sunfall. We definitely take the draw on the Simulacrum. Piggy Bank. Simulacrum. We could bring back Leveler, swing for 8. Okay, that's an option. I'd rather wait for them to have something more important on the board, though, right? I think we'll start with I over-tapped. I'm sorry, opponent. There we go. Thinning the deck list with Simulacrum first. Basic land onto the board. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'll go for card draw on the archive. And we want to do this on our turn because it definitely affects what we're doing here. We could play more, like an extruder, for example. Here, we can play this mana. Get the extruder down. And we'll save the extruder ability for the end of their turn. I'm not even... Am I going to play Piggy Bank? No, I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to keep Furnace open for draw and Extruder open for popping the Simulacrum if they're going to destroy it anyways with something. Or we do that at the end of their turn anyways for draw on the Simulacrum and turning it into a 3/3. I don't know, man. We're kind of like... We're dancing around a lot of things in the deck list right now. Definitely need to see more top end than just the one Cityscape Leveler. Okay, Cryptic Coat coming back down. That's been a pain in the butt of a card, hasn't it? It's been pretty decent. Still got 2 mana open. Alright, yeah, I think it's going to be the Simulacrum sacrifice here. Turn it into a 3/3 draw card. We got to find that top end. For real. The Mirrex. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, it's more mana too. Alright, well, Brotherhood's End does the thing pretty well, I guess. So we lose our 3/3, but... Yeah, we don't wanna pop all artifacts. That would be pretty bad. We'd lose our extruder, and the extruder is pretty important here. Let's start with card draw on the furnace. I don't want to get rid of the archive. That's much better than the furnace here. Okay, Mightstone and Weakstone is decent. That's pretty good. We'll still have 2, 3 open. Again, we're going for the card draw here. Got to draw that top end. Okay, Chainsaw and another Legion Extruder. Guess we can successfully get the other Mirrex down. Thick Coat just doing the exact same thing next turn. Maybe we don't Brotherhood's End. We could go Chainsaw. We could pay the 2. I don't know. I don't know what we want to do. Like these face down cards from the Cryptic Coat have actually been a huge pain in the butt. Okay. It was a land that time. And we still have the extruder. Let's see what they do. Let's see what they do with the 3/3 swing, I guess, right? We got a lot of options, man. We got a lot of value on this board. I think we will... Let's go with... We actually won't have a red source. But I think we end up passing to keep our Legion Extruder open. This one right here. We'll probably end up sacrificing the treasure token to create a 3/3. They go for life gain on the tote. Okay. Yeah, we have so much mana, dude. And we're waiting for the right moment to bring this leveler back. Preferably a moment where we're closing up the game. Okay, another tote. Okay. You guys think they're gonna bring the Cryptic Coat back to hand? And play it again? Oh, it's gonna be a Beza for the turn. Oh, buddy. They're going back up to 19. All right. Well, they do swing with the 1/1s. All right, we don't need this treasure token right now. Definitely have enough mana on the board for anything we see. Block. if enough creatures die, we might be able to get the chainsaw high enough to attach to the leveler when we bring it back again. We just have so much mana. We could draw on the archive. A leveler comes back, pops Beza. That's pretty good. It's a decent swing too. We play our mana. With so much extra then too. So the swing will pop the Beza. We got some 1/1s. I guess we want to clean up one of the 1/1s at the very least, right? That way they can't completely just chump the 3/3s that are about to come in. They can chump one of them then. Chainsaw is equip 3, and I want to keep both of the Legion Extruders open here, so we don't end up doing that. All right, full swing. My goodness, guys, my goodness. All right, pop the Beza. They do get a Power Stone, and this is actually another deck list where they'll be able to utilize the Power Stone token, or the Power Stone tokens. Plural now, right? So they do chump the 1/1. So we have Mirrex open to make a token there. Spring-loaded Saw Blade for the other 3/3, so of course we'll use the Extruder ability for that one. Chainsaw, getting a lot of counters on it, man. This is a game of Magic. It's melting my brain. But we got good value, so I'm feeling good. The problem is this was the last turn for the leveler. So of course we want to sacrifice the leveler as it's about to go bye-bye anyways, and turn it into a 3/3. Okay. Let's see what the opponent has next. This is very much a Sunfall style build. Oh no! Okay, we lose a couple of these. Oh, we lose all of these. Am I thinking of something different here? Oh yeah, choose a creature with power 2 or less. Oh crap, dude. Oh crap. Cryptic Coat. Hey, a Brotherhood's End is actually going to hit a couple creatures then. That's good at least. Still looking for more of our top end. We find a archive. We hit a couple creatures. They got treasure open here. They can use that to gain 3 on the tote, back up to 14. When they craft that, that could be a problem. That could end up being an issue. You might want to draw on this archive, guys, before anything else. I think we do. Yeah. We could still find some top end. We do not find top end. 32 cards remaining, and the only top end we saw was a leveler? This looks like a Mirrex turn, and then turn the Mirrex tokens into 3/3s maybe. But first of all, I guess we'll go Brotherhood's End. I guess. I'm sorry, opponent. Hold on. We might as well get the Irencrag down too. They'll have 8 open. Then we can use the Irencrag. 3 damage. Get rid of their board state. More chainsaw tokens. It's actually pretty sick, right? At that point too. Love that. The Piggy Bank. Wow. Yeah, let's do this. So that'll be able to activate one of the extruders, so we can still go Piggy Bank. The other extruder can be a surprise if we need to slip like 2 more damage through to the opponent's face. Oh, buddy, there's a lot to think through right now. Okay, we're fine. How much mana do we have total right now, too? 2 on the archive. 2 from the Mightstone and Weakstone. 1 here, that's 5. 13, 15 total mana. Oh, guys. Ezram, I think they found their top end before we did. That's a huge problem. The hexproof, the lifelink, everything about this is... I mean, this pulls the opponent into this game easily. I actually think it's leaning towards them now that the Ezram came down. You know what we should have done? We should have played the other Mightstone and Weakstone for more card draw last turn, too. Yeah, everything about that's really bad. The good news is it doesn't have, like, indestructible. And so if we can do something like force a chump block. All right, let's trade out. Let's trade out the... I'm going to keep the Piggy Bank. Let's trade out the Irencrag. Yeah. We don't need the mana. Just turn it into a 3/3. That's fine. Another chainsaw. Maybe we start with the draw on the Mightstone Weakstone first. Two, three. Make sure you watch auto tapper and deck lists like this for real. We don't got the -5/-5. They have hexproof on the chief easily here. Draw 2. Come on, top end. Come on, top end. Hey, Skitterbeam Battalion. Hi, welcome to the party. All right, let's do this. We have 2 mana open after the fact. We got lifelink up to 16. Do we care? Do we care? Actually, we don't care because of the sacrifice. Wherever they end up blocking, if they give lifelink, we can sacrifice that artifact so they don't gain the lifelink. It's actually insane, guys. Oh my goodness. All right. So, full swing. See what kind of tricks the opponent can pull off here. The Tinker's Tote is one of them. Okay. So we still have 14 going through. Is that... Are they going to do the lifelink? And then they choose... I don't want to accidentally click through the sacrifice. Yes, they chose the lifelink, so we go Legion Extruder. Sacrifice whatever they blocked. Too bad we didn't have enough open mana for the chainsaw then, too. Put it on a trampling creature. Yeah, so they didn't power up the Restless here. They go Clue, draw a card. Oh! They could easily find something. Clue, draw a card. They still have Tinker's Tote to go up 3, but still got 14 going through. Opponent, did you find removal? Tinker's Tote. I'm on the edge of my seat. Yeah, there we go, guys. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. The Ezreal came down and I was just like, I completely... I think that was leaning towards them with the Ezreal. Luckily, we were able to actually just have so much card draw that we eventually found more of our top end. Another top end piece that would have worked really well there is actually Portal. The sacrifice getting around the hexproof as well would have been really, really good. Battalion works well. We probably, I think, got a little lucky that they didn't find removal off the draws, right? At the same time, though, they did have a lot throughout that game, so I don't really know. Guys, we're almost 40 minutes in. We're going to try one more game, hopefully. Hopefully it's not another really long one like that. Those ones melt my brain, dude. We just have so much going on. But hey, while I have you here towards the end of the video, make sure you check out that description where we do have that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in joining either of those up or supporting the channel that way. And then also, guys, with the other YouTube nonsense, if you like the video, make sure you actually drop it a like. And if you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing as well, because it really does help out the channel. So thank you, guys. All right, opponent goes first here for the last game of the evening. We're going to give it a shot. Why not? Decklist is actually performing quite well. Push it to its limits, and if it's like aggro, Gleaming Barrier is not half bad. All right, we'll get the mountain down again. Put some fear into the heart of the opponent with a mountain. And then Fountainport's fine. Demolition Field is also fine here. It doesn't really matter. And we want to go for whatever we want them to counter. So Barrier is a better counter for us. As Piggy Bank, we'd rather land against control style deck lists. If it was control, which it is not, as we can see here. However, these deck lists still run counter spells. So Mini Reanimator, and Mini Reanimator is a problem because it has a lot of flyers, and so our ground blockers not going to do a lot here. Go for Chart a Course. See what they send to the grave. Oh, I guess you gotta refresh it. Hottie Djinn, is it going to be a helping hand right away for the Hottie Djinn? It might be. It is. It's going to be a helping hand. Okay, Portal to Phyrexia might come in handy, but we gotta go really fast to get to 9 mana, huh? Yeah. Right, so I guess it doesn't really matter. We'll go Demolition Field. It doesn't really affect the turn. I guess, again, it depends what you're up against, because you might want to keep an open mana, open red source just to scare the opponent a little bit. But we know that we don't have any red 1-drops, or any 1-drops for that matter, but... or red 1-mana cards, I should say. Moment of truth. Oh, buddy, we're in danger. Yeah, against Mini Reanimator, I mean, seriously, the flyers are an issue. A lot of their main reanimation targets are flyers. A lot of their cards, like Picklock Prankster, helps them get those reanimation targets into the grave, are flyers, too. Brotherhood's End doesn't hit Hottie Djinn. It doesn't hit the eye, either. Still got a couple mana. Yeah, the Oculus. Oh, yeah, dude, we're in danger. I don't know what we could do here. Archive obviously helps us ramp, but against a Hottie Djinn that could close up the game next turn, I don't know, man. It's going to be a helping hand for the Oculus. You know what we can block? We can totally block the 2/2s that the Oculus generates. So that's good news, right? Either way, they got 13 in the air. Oh, buddy, we are out of here. Maybe they block Piggy Bank and we can try a Mightstone Weakstone on the Oculus. Really doubt that, though. Yeah, well, let's go Piggy Bank. Yeah, they're just going to go ahead, take the 3. That is definitely the correct decision. And that's it. That's it, guys. Well, maybe they miss the boost for the Djinn. We'll still go Archive. Show them what we're doing here. But I'm pretty sure they find the last card for the Djinn. Picklock Prankster. The Djinn is a 10-4. They got 15 in the air, guys. Darn it. I really wanted to see this Gleaming Barrier block something today, too. Aw, man. Against any other deck list. Don't worry, little buddy. Little buddy Barrier. One day, you'll be a great blocker, I promise. I'll tell you what, though. If this had flying, man, that would actually be kind of insane, actually. I think that would be maybe... I don't want to say too good, because it's still a 0-4 defender. But with flying, though... I think I'm overthinking this Gleaming Barrier right now. No, seriously, though. Yeah, against a different deck list. But we are seeing a lot of this Mini Reanimator still. They found some easy tempo for the Gleaming Barrier anyways to still get the 2-3 there. 50% deck win rate. That's probably about right. If we played another 4, I bet it would be very, very similar. However, I'm thoroughly impressed with what the deck list is trying to do. I'd say this last match doesn't showcase the true power that the deck list brings to the table, not like those first games. All right. At least it was a fast one, though, which was important as we're getting late into the video. Big red artifacts. Cool, man. We did not see Darksteel Colossus, and I am sad about it. But that's okay. That's okay. I look, I put it in the thumbnail for YouTube. At least it's in the deck list, right? And I don't think, I mean, we could potentially have more of them. I don't have a second one, but I could see a second one. The big problem is, well, the one of makes a lot of sense too, and something we are seeing a lot of is mono white mid range, and it has a lot of exile, bro. Everything in mono white mid-range exiles something, especially Sunfall. I don't actually know if Sunfall's a 4 of in those deck lists. I just assume it is because the opponents always have Sunfall right on time. And so whenever you see it, you really got to win before that turn 5. Other words, all your creatures go bye-bye. And that's if you play deck lists that I like playing with a lot of creatures and stuff too, right? So yeah, Sunfall's always been devastating. It's going to be equally as devastating when you spend 11 mana on a Colossus. And as we saw there in those games, it's not unheard of at all to get a whole bunch of mana on the board and be able to play your entire top end. And I was complaining in that game where we only found one leveler, but if we're being realistic about it, is that enough top end? It's 8 cards. 8 cards that hopefully help us win the game or close out, or I guess Portal to Phyrexia also kind of sort of helps us win the game, right? So 8 cards on the top end, all this ramp. Yeah, I think that's enough. I think we'll see the top end quite often. Like in that, first of all, like in that last game where there was not a whole lot we could do against the Legion and whatnot, we saw our top end, right? We had some of it in our hand, but we just weren't able to survive long enough to get there. And Brotherhood's End wasn't going to help us. Our ground blockers weren't going to help us. So we are very much not favored against the Azorius Reanimator. That's definitely something to consider. If you see that deck list a lot, I think it'll run over us quite often. So we would need to intentionally put cards in here that helps us deal with that. And I don't know what those cards would look like right now. So definitely let me know in the comments if you have any ideas. It'd probably be some generic burn that can actually deal 4 or 5 damage, preferably 5 because it's not always going to be Hadigen. It's going to be Oculus very often too. And if you're adding that burn, hopefully it also deals with the other cards or other deck lists that you're seeing in your meta too. If you're adding that burn, we'll probably, unfortunately, drop a couple of the Gleaming Barriers for it, right? Because again, they're just not helping you block in the air. And in that last game too, yeah, dude, if this had flying, I think we'd see it show up everywhere. But, maybe that's just me. Irencrag being a 1 of might also be a little unnecessary too. So let's look real quick here. I'm not going to change anything with the deck list. I think that I think more testing is required for sure. I think that it performed well enough overall. Rebel Salvo. You know what, man? You know what? With the chainsaws, 5 damage to creature or planeswalker. Permanent loses indestructible until end of turn. We don't see too much indestructible. Bargain is sacrifice creature or enchantment, or pay the 2, so you could pay 4. There's a lot of great options, guys. This could be pretty good too, because if you're sacrificing a Piggy Bank or a barrier, oh, I might like that more than the Salvo, but Salvo works well with the chainsaw since that's equipment. There's great options, guys. Maybe I do want to change something real quick. Drop a couple barrier, go up a couple bargain. I don't know. Well, see, if you don't have a creature or enchantments, that's the problem, right? We don't have any enchantments in here. It would have to be a creature. So Piggy Bank, Gleaming Barrier, and if we go down a couple Gleaming Barriers, then there's less creatures to actually hit, so we'd still need to hit 4 mana for the bargain. Salvo, on the other hand, is 3 mana. That's much more doable, but also it gets cheaper as we see our chainsaws. It means we could go up some chainsaws to make that more feasible. Oh, that's interesting. That is interesting. Also, we were too far from the Mightstone Weakstone. Like, Mightstone Weakstone, of course, -5/-5 helps us deal with Oculus, but those deck lists are very fast, and so getting to the Mightstone Weakstone would mean that we need the early ramp successfully, like Irencrag, right? But that's only a 1 of, or ramp off the barrier in the Piggy Bank, but again, we're not blocking with them in those matches, so we're not getting the treasure tokens to ramp successfully. That's tough, man. There's a lot to think about there. Magmatic Galleon is another one that potentially could have made this list. Maybe that should have been at the very least in the honorable mentions, right? I think as far as 5 damage cards go, what's Galvanize? What is this? 3 damage to target creature. You draw on 2 or more cards this turn, deals 5 damage. Oh. It's actually pretty interesting. We do have a lot of card draw packed in, but I don't know if it would be Galvanize. Another creature that we wouldn't mind sacrificing to the bargain would actually be Simulacrum. Sacrifice it, draw a card, 5 damage to something. Also, bargain only hits creatures. It does exile those, though, so that's important. But Rebel Salvo also hits planeswalkers. Tough decisions, man. Maybe like a couple bargains and a salvo. Drop the Irencrag and a couple barriers. But again, that early ramp on the Irencrag, when we do see it, it wasn't important enough to have more than one. But when we do see it, I don't think we're going to mind it. And if we see it late game, we do like we did in that one game, sacrifice it to the Extruder, just turn it into a 3/3, you know? This is cool, man. I think this is pretty solid. A little bit of modifications based on the meta and based on the meta that you're personally seeing too. And I think it could be relatively decent. Outside of that, I'd say put it on the do not craft list. Instead, put it on the craft a little bit less list. Base it on your collection completely. If you don't have Darksteel Colossus, we didn't even see it today. It would be a neat top end as a one of, but it's just unnecessary to craft if you don't have it, right? Instead, you go up something else. Maybe you have 3 battalions and you've just been looking for the right deck list to put those 3 battalions in. Well, here you go, right? Perfect. And then just don't craft some of the other top end. Yeah, we've been putting a lot of things on the craft a little bit less list, and that's because a lot of the recent deck lists, I find them really, really neat, and they've kind of been coming together really well. But overall, the standard meta is super tough, and all the deck lists are really, really good and good at dealing with things, and they're super fast. Even the mid-range deck lists know how to deal with things very fast. So yeah, craft a bit less. That's the list I would put this on. And then also too, like maybe you don't have a couple blast zones. They're gonna be good sometimes, but they're also just not necessary to craft. You can just go up a couple mountains and yeah, be happy about it. Be happy that you didn't spend 2 rare wildcards on it. But again, if you do a blast zone, it's worth it in here, I would say, and it's still gonna come in handy on the games that you see it. Well, most of the games. Well, it depends. It depends what you're up against, too. But no, Blast Zone helping us deal with very specific things. Actually, guys, I don't keep my eye on Blast Zone well enough when it's on the board state. We might have had some better options when Blast Zone was out there today. How many of those games had Blast Zone? Yeah, I feel like I don't keep a good enough eye on this card overall. I'm pretty sure it'll do the thing a lot of the times. But again, yeah, craft a bit less if you don't have them. Probably not worth it. Fountainport, on the other hand, Fountainport's going to be in a lot of deck lists all over the place, I would say. I would say a couple Fountainports would actually be worth the craft. And you'd probably find a lot of deck lists to squeeze this into as a 2 of. And then Mirrex for this one too, especially since it generates artifacts, is going to be pretty important as well. The Legion Extruder was awesome today. Very, very cool, and I love how it pairs with this. Oh, guys, against that last game, if we saw a Legion Extruder instead of a Archive, we could have waited on the Piggy Bank, popped the barrier with the Extruder. Piggy Bank could have been the Extruder play instead, right? Excuse me, guys. That means we would have seen the treasure. That might have pulled us a little bit closer to our top end. Well, that just makes the case for all 4 extruders again. That's tough, though. There's a lot to talk about with this one, huh? I say, that's it, though. I could talk for another 10 minutes, or I could say, enough rambling, huh? Let me know what you thought of the deck list down in the comments. What would you add or take out? What does your Big Red Artifacts deck list look like? Because I feel like there's a few ways we could put this together and be relatively satisfied. Especially if we go the Forge route. Maybe we'll go the Forge route next time. The Forge route would probably include more board wipes, the Mycosynth Gardens to copy the Forges too. That sounds really cool, doesn't it? All right, guys. Hey. Thank you so much for being here. Y'all are champions for real, and I will see you in the next video.